podcast that keeps you in the mix of everything real estate. I'm Noelle Frieson with the Center for Real Estate Education, and of course we have our power panel. So first, we have Eric Anderson, CEO of Alexander Anderson Real Estate Group.
Morning.
We have Omar Sharif. He is the VP of Alexander Anderson Capital Group. And today we have an amazing guest. We have Daniel Gonzalez. Daniel Gonzalez is a construction consultant with Danny Builds Homes. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Danny. I'm going to read this so I get it right.
All right, here we go.
Daniel Gonzalez has been involved in the real estate industry for over 25 years. Early on in his career, he realized the significant savings available by being his own contractor. Since then, through his company, Danny Builds Homes, he has made it his mission to pass on his learning to others so they can achieve their highest potential. Over the last 10 years, Danny has consulted with scores of investors, teaching them methods to take complete control of their projects, be it a flip, investment, rental, or even a major renovation. So because we have Danny on with us today, we are going to get down and dirty with the tips and tricks of dealing with general contractors.
Down and dirty, but Danny, do you get down and dirty anywhere?
If you have to get pulling up to the job site, and if I'm there and I see guys,
management now.
well, I see people unload, and I still help out. I always say, even as an investor, you have to still put your boots on. So
Yeah.
you can't expect your guys to take care of everything with you not even, chipping in. If I'm not around, hey, I don't have to help. But I feel like I'm entitled. If I see my guys bringing something in, I'm not just going to watch them. I'm going to help them out as well. So and that's the biggest thing. You earn the respect and the love of your guys, by helping them out as well. So
Yeah.
So I think most people are super afraid of dealing with contractors.
Yep.
I know that I've probably got 20% of the gray hair on my head is from dealing with contractors. So what would be your number one pitfall with a contractor, or what should we look out for?
First, I would say hair dye works wonders, because I probably have more gray hair than you, and it really does. Just dealing with a contractor, it's tough because let's say like someone like Omar, we work so well together. We do the real estate class,
Find Fun Flip.
Find Fun Flip online, and it's kind of like our duo, and we work so great together. But somebody else might not work with Omar as great as I work with Omar. Kind of goes the same with contractors. I might have an awesome contractor, and I tell people, hey, I'll give you a good recommendation for this guy, and you guys might not hit it off. So the whole secret behind it is usually going 2 to 3 estimates, meeting a few different contractors, and you feel them out. Usually the last thing is your gut feeling, first impressions. All that takes a factor into it.
Right. The relationship part of it is really important. And it's not just a matter of getting the terms and details down on paper, but you have to get along with the person, and they have to understand what you want done. Because that's what's going to really build that contractor and investor relationship.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, run down what is the relationship between the general contractor and the investor. What do you guys do together? What's one's responsibility? What's the others?
Okay, so being a general contractor to an investor, depending on what you agree on, let's say, all right, here's the plans. I'm going to maintain the entire project. All I need is the funding. Obviously, the investor's just setting up payments to, every time a contractor needs a draw, they're taking care of everything. There's also investor GC, where the investor is actually more active than a normal investor. And obviously it's picking up material. It's just basically saving time. So it's how much money do you want to save and how much do you want to do compared to how less do you want to do. So basically I'll give you a quick example. I'm an active guy, even though I don't have a construction company anymore. Most of my guys that went on to other people, I'm friends with the GCs. So I'm active as an investor. If I have a project, I'm going to make sure I order the material. I'm going to make sure I have the timeline. He's just supplying me with, maybe picking up stuff, or he might be picking up the material or just sending his guys to handle the work. Compared to if he was a full-blown GC where I turned over the keys to him, I say, these are the plans, this is what I'm going with. I don't want to be bothered with anything. Obviously, it's more money out of your pocket, but the apartment, still gets turned around. Hello, sir.
Nima always
I
needs
think he's
to be
on time.
special.
So the big the big question is, because you're late, do you get a microphone?
Hell no. I speak so loud, jokes on him. I don't even need that. All right, wild card.
Yay, Nima. So
I'm not late. They started on time.
Well, don't feel bad. I thought I was going to
You
be the
got
one
that
that
one,
was
right?
late, so...
Listen, this is the first and only time everyone watching this podcast that you're going to see a contractor on time.
So guys, this is Nima Ameri, managing partner of Ameri Law Firm, and
Who's
He is-
never late with a filing?
No, I'm actually super early to these podcasts.
usually
Yeah.
you
For
are.
context.
Usually you are.
And in my defense, I just made it. I had a court, so I was a little late, and it was well worth it because I made a ton of money by being an absolute maniac.
Nice.
Go.
Yeah, everyone kept being like, "Why are you acting like this?" And I'm like, "Guys, trust me, wild card."
So that brings us into a good topic. Danny, is a client that's an absolute maniac the right way to handle a contractor?
Not really. So, say again.
Not really. That means he doesn't like
maniacs.
it, but he's
Yeah.
afraid of the stick.
Yeah.
He'd prefer the carrot.
No, it's funny. The actual investor, like I said, the active investor, well, technically, between investors and homeowners is a huge difference. As an investor, you're not as picky as long as the job goes well, especially on a flip. If you're flipping, it's not, obviously you want everything to be done accordingly. Or if it's a rental that you're just turning over an apartment, nice, clean, neat, compared to a homeowner who's usually sitting behind you while
Yeah.
you're working. So
Yeah.
I've actually seen, years ago, we did a building in Edgewater. So this, we agreed on a price. We decided to take it. And this gentleman automatically assumed if he helped us out, the price was going to be a bit cheaper, or he was,
price.
we had one of our project managers walk off the job because he kept touching his tools. He's like, hey, listen, please, let me get the work. Oh, but I just have to, So they think they can involve themselves in it, speed up the timeline. If you get it done in 10 days compared to 12 days, it's going to be cheaper, and
it
it's
doesn't
not.
matter, right?
It's like the attorney says, if he goes to court and he's there for an hour or 7 hours, if you get it done in an hour because you know the judge or you know the prosecutor and you sneak in and you're out quick, it's still the
That
same
doesn't
price.
happen.
Yeah. Never happens. Unofficial. No, but obviously you get paid for your time, whether you show up and you're there for 6 hours. Or
No, I literally get paid more from there for more.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
more, yeah.
Lawyers get paid
Wrong-
by the hour,
wrong
by the
context,
minute,
wrong
by the
context,
minute.
right.
Well,
So wait-
I
lawyers
take
do
my
it.
time. I don't take the elevator.
wait.
I take the stairs.
Is there a difference between what you charge an investor and what you charge a homeowner?
So this is the thing. People automatically assume because you're an investor, and I get it all the time at my class. They're like, well, we're investors, we pay this price. There's not a difference between an investor price and a homeowner price.
That's not what I've heard.
Well,
Come
here,
on.
here,
Yeah, exactly.
here we go. Well, let me finish. So, as an investor, if you're a first-time investor and you're coming to me and you say, "Hey, listen, this is what I do," obviously you're going to give them a decent price, but it's not going to be the best price. Now, obviously, if it's a repeat investor that you're doing tons of his property, even if it's a homeowner you're doing a bunch of their properties, you're going to give them that price.
Right.
But if it's a one-time gig and you know it, usually by, hey, listen, I'm looking to do this job. I have plenty more after this. I'm going to give you tons of work. You don't want to hear that because that's the biggest bull
Everybody's
that you can.
I feel chipped here, right?
by
I'm sitting next to him, so I got to be all friendly because he's twice my size. He
Nah.
cracked me right in the face. If I was there, I could be grilling away. You got lucky today.
Yeah. Well, I'm retired, so I'm not a contractor anymore.
Then let's get it on.
He's a
So
consultant.
my thing is actually
honest question, right?
Yeah.
So look, we all know the guy who walks in and says, "I'll buy two. I'll do this. I'll do that." You laugh in his face because you're like, "All right, man." Like you go to every person and say that. That guy's
course.
full of shit. But let's be real, right? Just dead honest. We're on this podcast. Eric's wearing straight out of the listing. He's hood. He'll tell you what's up. Right now, if you walk to a guy's house, gorgeous stone outside, beautiful landscape, Porsche, Benz parked in the driveway, and he says, I want to do this, this, and this. Clearly, he has no idea what goes into it. He's an executive. He just wants it done, and he wants it done well. And you have to quote him.
What's the upcharge?
No, not what's up. I have to give him an equal scenario, right?
Okay.
Think, lock your mindset in right now. You got your contractor boots on. Lock your mindset. You just pulled up in your truck. You got this job. Now you walk to another job. Eric is standing there. You know Eric has done a dozen projects. Eric knows what the cost per receptacle is. If it's a licensed guy, non-licensed guy, Eric knows what the cost of the materials are. He knows everything, right?
Yes.
Now lock your mindset in there. You're going to tell everyone watching, the millions of people watching our podcast right now, you're going to tell them that the first number that pops in your mind is the same?
For both of the houses?
Yes.
No,
But
obviously
those are
it's
two different scenarios.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, of
that's a
course.
different scenario.
Smash it. Do it.
I can't because I'm a Danny on
Omar,
this.
come on, man. That's why we have Noelle.
How are they different?
So-
how are they different scenarios?
So a homeowner versus an investor. Yeah, if it's someone who lives in some upscale neighborhood or whatnot and he's willing to pay the price and get it done quickly, it's easier for you to get the
because
job
the
done.
investor wants you to take a time?
No, but the investor has a different scenario. But the investor,
take
hold
all
on,
the time in the
time,
world.
all
Come on,
right,
my
time wise.
4% interest
I
is
don't
But
care.
just rolling.
but the difference would be, investor access to the property itself is different. You could go in and out. The property's empty.
Whenever
they're not
you
living there.
want.
They're not watching you.
They're not watching you.
Because the
don't have
homeowner's
kids.
waiting for you to buzz in this gate, right? And if
Well-
you don't buzz at 9 to
Hey,
9:30,
that
they're going to
happens.
let you in?
That
You're
happens.
basically giving Danny a way out of this answer.
Well, no.
I'm agreeing with Danny.
He's absolutely right. And then
Of course he is. He's on your side.
So,
Yana,
so
I
as a
object.
contractor working with the homeowner, it takes more.
challenging.
Yeah, it is really challenging because
It's
everything has to be perfect. They hold
Yeah.
a lot of the deposits. They hold their money. They're like, well, this wasn't perfect. I'm going to deduct.
It's
it, which is
emotional.
not right.
It's emotional with
know?
So
homeowners.
basically, this is what he's saying. When you're dealing with the homeowner, they care about the product, they care about the time, and they will micro and watch to make sure they
It's
get what they're
emotional.
paying
You're
for.
about to get
But
into that bathtub. Like you
also-
want it to be perfect.
But
You
what
want your spa
but
bathroom.
what does that have to do with pricing? You're basically saying you're upcharging for headache.
Right, but he didn't
Well,
say
you-
anything about
yeah.
them having a Benz. He took that part he left out.
but also
Well,
Okay.
it depends
So
on
the
the neighborhood
BMW.
as well. How far is the drive?
Yeah.
What material they're using? Usually,
So
on
you
new
only
home-
True.
you
The drive is the same for each client.
the drive is now. How about
The
design?
difference is one is a
design.
homeowner,
No,
one
no.
is an investor.
no. One is a
rich.
homeowner who lives in a mansion who wants
Yes.
to just get it done, like Nima described.
Hold on, no, let's rewind.
Not,
we
not
should
probably not,
probably
discuss,
just
not
say-
probably not
Okay.
negotiating on price.
We got it.
Yes,
no,
I'm-
this is good. This is good.
But yes, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say two things. Yes, people go, and even to myself, when I bring people to my home who I need stuff done, they look at your home. Wow, this is nice. Okay, right there and then, you know the price is going up.
It's human nature. It's not a bad thing, man.
Well,
Yo,
what kind of attorney are you? I mean, do you do everything?
I wear a couple different hats.
Okay,
Right?
So let's just say if you're a criminal attorney, I used to own a bail bonds company for 20 years.
That's
So-
where he made the good money.
So, well, you guys made it too, because I
Wait, what was your bail bonds company?
inner city bail bonds.
Okay.
I was Jersey City and Patterson.
Just so everybody understands why he said was, the law changed a couple of years ago, which kind of the state decided that bail bondsmen shouldn't make all the money they want to make it, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
They eliminated bail bonds and now they take your
But they
checks.
ruined
give it
it,
to the attorney.
and what they did was
We got it anyway.
all the police work, all the, everything went to.
I don't
to
do.
shit.
I don't really do criminal law.
Oh, you don't?
Just
Okay.
for some celebrities, it's fine.
Well, since you
Back to real
and
estate.
me as a so me as a contractor, well, I'll tell you this. A few years back, we decided to shut down. I couldn't handle investing and doing other people's work as well. I felt like I neglected most of my stuff. So I created this class, and now this is the answer to your question. I've actually created a class called the Real Estate Construction Class. I have it once a month, and I hold 25 people. I teach them how to deal with a contractor. I give them the active labor prices, and I give them all the tools they need how to not get ripped off by a contractor. So, yeah, contractors. I'm saying all contractors. There's a lot of great contractors out there who get a bad name, but I basically given people the key to success, how to deal with these contractors.
Well, just so everyone knows, Danny is also one of the teachers on Find Fun Flip, the class that's held at the Center for Real Estate Education, recareercenter.com. And he goes through a lot of those same things
Oh, absolutely.
with
Yep.
Omar on that class. So tell me, what are the top tricks to not get scammed? How am I not going to get my pocket?
So this is my thing.
As an investor or homeowner? So because
Either
Either one. How do I deal with you?
And how does a person start in their search for a contractor, typically?
Okay, so my thing is this: referrals are great. referrals are always the way. I'm pretty sure you get a lot of referrals.
I'm not a contractor.
No, you're an attorney.
Oh, yeah,
No,
I
but
forgot.
you still have to. You have to
So
get
you're
it.
still contracted by people.
No, I'm very referral based.
Okay, referral.
right? And people who are happy with my results usually refer, and usually everyone saes the same thing.
That's your wonderful. We know. All right.
So
Mr.
I didn't
Wonderful.
three
say
top
that.
ways. There's 3 top ways.
Okay.
One, Home Depot is a popular site. I'm at Home Depot all the
Yeah.
time.
I've heard that you go and you stalk contractors at Home Depot.
Well,
the
the
contractors
secret
stalk
is
you.
going to the pro desk.
Okay.
So and Patterson, Paramus, and Clifton and Passaic
New Jersey.
in New Jersey. In New Jersey. Those are the 4 those are the 4 pro desks that I order from all the time. Now, obviously, I don't have to look for contractors anymore, and I still do though, because even though I have a relationship with guys, I switch it up every once in a while.
you have to.
Because even me, who sends out tons of work all the time, I refer tons of people. They still try to rip me off.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? My roofer just kept going up little by little. Like, oh, he's already stuck with me.
Yep.
So
And you're like,
I
no, I'm
switch out
not.
guys every once in a
I
while.
always say contractors have like a 2 or 3 year window, and then you have to move.
And then that's it.
The problem is they come to you hungry, right?
Oh, they do.
And then you feed them, they get full, and now that they're full, they think that they're worth more. And I'm not saying they're not.
No more
You
burgers.
may be.
Now they want filet mignon.
That's okay though. Maybe
okay.
you've gotten to that level. Just understand that the person you were dealing with, that was the hand that fed you, may not need that, and he may then go to somebody else, and you may lose that business.
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm going to Home Depot and
Going
I'm
to Home
stalking
Depot,
some guys.
you're
Got
at the
it.
pro desk, and let's say you're at Home Depot every day. You're gonna see the same contractors every day. Those guys are usually the guys that are actively working, that are constantly working.
But hold on, why would you trust a guy who has to go to Home Depot 2 days in a row? Clearly, he's not planning his job right.
No, that's not true. 'Cause
Well, today with COVID, things don't come in on
Well,
time.
usually they're
Well,
also
not
there.
even with
That's
COVID. You go like this. So you have a job site. You're in Patterson, New Jersey. You know the lumber prices are high. You know they're gonna. I've had jobs that I've worked at during COVID where guys ripped the 2x4s out the wall. Obviously drug addicts.
Who
You
needs
have
copper when you
extra
got wood?
material.
Wow.
You cannot leave extra material in these homes. As a
Wow.
homeowner, you can leave it. As an investor, you're building in some of these areas where you leave material there,
That's
it's
gone.
gone overnight.
Yeah.
Great point.
I mean, hammers, tools, everything. You see the VPS gates. I don't know if you've ever
Yeah,
seen them.
the metal
so,
gates.
So my thing is, when you start the build, you put up that home, you install the windows, you remove them, and you get security systems there, which is
Can I say a funny story?
Sure.
I was a kid. I was working for my dad, right? Or real estate portfolio. So building in Newark, right? Midday. Calls me and tells me, when you go there, make sure the workers lock the truck. I'm like, yeah, fine. 3-family house. It's not like we're in the middle of nowhere, public street. Go in, probably inside for a period of like 20 minutes. Keeps calling me, make sure you go out and check on the car. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? Like every 20 minutes, I'm not going to go out and look to see if the car's still there. Like,
So you didn't listen to your dad.
it's not 1984, right? This is not that long ago. I'm inside for maybe 45 minutes. Now, this is a work van filled with tools, right? Filled with tools. Filled. And it's closed. And it's a busy street, and it's like 12:30 in the afternoon. Right? I send a guy to get a tool, comes back, and he's just looking at me.
Oh,
Okay?
God.
And, he's like, can you come outside? And I'm like, why? And he's just really quiet. There was nothing. I mean, when I tell you, like, they broomed up afterwards, too. Oh, my God. They emptied that truck in the middle of the day. There was not a tool.
Pure
There was not-
daylight?
Middle, 12:30 of the
12:30
day.
What town?
Newark, on South 17.
God. Oh,
Not surprised.
you're South
Okay.
17.
It was, I mean,
that's-
I was like, you played yourself.
So Danny's going every day, so he just has what he needs when he
Oh,
goes,
so
right?
yeah, a lot of the contractors, you go every day. Let's say, you need 1,000 2x4s, but you get a couple hundred every day. You're only going to use a couple hundred every day. You keep 1,000 in the house. One, you're going to run out of space. Guys can't walk over. Two, you used to be able to leave it outside. Now it's
No, you
gone.
can't.
Can we plug Omar here? Because Omar taught me a technique. We were texting a week ago.
Oh boy.
What's
Curious.
your
And
technique?
I don't know.
Omar,
not
can-
all my
Give us-
techniques.
Give us your technique.
Give us half the technique.
I'm not sure what you're referring to because some
Oh.
techniques. I don't
the
like
ones
to
related to building.
Right.
In my profession, we call this culpable deniability.
So I don't know what he's referring to, but
I don't recall. Is Omar's defense. Well, I'll abbreviate it. Omar believes in ordering things and timing out the delivery so he
Just
gets
in
them in
time.
advance.
Oh,
That's what
for
the,
sure.
the
Like, go-
Japanese do.
Yeah. So my method in doing rehabs is I try to not leave my room at all. And what I mean by that is
way.
I don't like
your
going to Home
office.
Depot. Office, yes. I don't like going to Home Depot at all. But you have to. So my way around it is I order everything I possibly can online because a lot of these stores are out of stock with materials. And if one store is out of stock, if you order it online, they'll find it from the other stores. They'll deliver it on site.
And guys, delivery is not that expensive. It's
No.
$100.
So you don't have to
Home
keep
Depot is
chasing.
actually $69.
Well, it depends on the size.
Anything.
They have.
Yeah.
I know the exact.
JB
number.
Hunt.
I
think.
wonder
Yeah.
I wonder what they were thinking when they're like, we're going to charge $69 for delivery. Like, what an arbitrary number, right?
Well, it's
All right.
$89.
89. I'm sorry, JB
JB
Hunt. Yep.
So now, but we still need to know what to do with the pro desk because we keep getting off topic.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
you.
All right. So
finish it to get it
at the,
out.
all right.
This is
real
why
quick.
we need Eric, right?
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
time we were,
Let's
I
hear,
think we were
let's hear
talking
about the pro
vacation.
desk.
All right,
before
so
we
the
talk.
pro
Nobody
desk,
talks.
so basically, you know what the pro desk is,
Yeah.
right? All right. So for those who don't know what the pro desk is, it's basically a
contract.
it's just a
It's a
contractor
desk with the
card.
word pro on it.
Set up an
Literally.
account. It's all free. They manage what you spend. So every week on Monday, if you spend $1,000, you open what's called a bid room. A bid room is basically you put your material through the bid room, it sends it to corporate, comes back and gives you a price. Now there's a lot of things that it doesn't come off, electric,
Yeah.
some plumbing, but I've saved 40% on millwork, doors, molding, trim. That price, it's so upmarked that you don't realize what you save. But I put everything through it.
Do you have to be a contractor?
You don't
to
have no. You can
part
be a
of the pro desk?
homeowner.
Okay, great.
Yeah, most
and
people
also
know about
Okay, that's
that.
good.
Yeah, and then also with paint as well. If you spend a certain number with
What is the number on paint?
so the number on paint is you spend you spend 2,500, you get 10%. You spend
Yearly or-
yearly 5,000. It's 15%. If you spend over 7,500, it's 20% off.
Guys, you guys listening, like, this is why this information is so important.
So valuable.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, I'll give you an example. I spend 6 figures at Home Depot. If I told you how many times I actually take the time to go to the pro desk and do it through the pro desk so I get these benefits,
Never.
I don't. I go, I get my stuff. I'm frustrated because there's no one in any aisle to tell me where it is, and I get out of there as soon as possible. But just
But
listening to this,
do you punch in your pro number at the register?
No.
I do.
Oh, see,
No.
yours isn't.
I
But then
because
don't you have a-
they don't give you that opportunity. They just at
Well-
the end they
well,
say
they
what's your
do.
email?
It's right there.
Well, they
on the
ask you
thing.
what's your pro number, and I'll be honest. I spend a lot at Home Depot every year. That actually at the pro desk they set us up with separate accounts, and they actually give you
Coupon.
gifts at the end of
Yeah.
the year.
Look, I also didn't know that there were these savings. So imagine I've been shopping at Home Depot forever. I just learned something in this lecture, and I am.
But Danny,
So now, wait,
Well-
y'all know that we're going to go to the pro desk.
Well, you go to
right?
the pro desk,
So
yeah.
now we're gonna steal people from the pro desk. Next,
I just
tip
want to make
find
sure
it.
he gets.
No,
I
one
just
last
want to
question.
make sure he gets his.
Does Lowe's have the same thing?
No, Lowe's is
hold on. But when you say pro number, you put a
your
number in.
your telephone number that you set up your pro account.
Me and Omar being selfish here. We're trying to save some money.
So I'll tell you real quick tonight. You know what? Now he says that, and I'm like, you know what? It's just something as simple as entering his number. We've got like $4,000 or $5,000 back in gift cards from Home Depot.
Guys, remember that your first
true.
gift card better get mailed
I've
over.
playoff tickets.
our podcast.
They try to keep you happy.
Donate it to charity.
You're missing on a bunch.
We
of
will
stuff
do a
that you
field
can-
trip to Home Depot,
Absolutely.
but I
Yeah.
want to know the second way of finding my contractor.
Okay, second way of finding your contractor is the pro desk is the first one.
Right.
Right.
You know, you're always gonna
in the
find a good
mornings.
contractor.
In the mornings.
In the
is
morning.
best time.
Or you ask one of the managers there.
So what do
Yeah.
you slide into the DMs? You just walk in.
No, you literally-
Get off
Hey,
of pro
guys.
desk. These
Yeah,
guys are
district
all
manager.
obsessed
Look,
with the
No,
pro
I'm saying,
desk.
how do you find the contractor?
By
like,
si- by
nice
six-
boots, bud. Tell me
by
what do you
six-
do? Electric?
right.
Like, how do you start that combo without it being uncomfortable?
Are you a
pro desk.
contractor?
You ask the pro desk manager.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you
you
a
could do that, but
contractor?
Oh, they will
but
give
hold
you a
on.
referral.
Oh, they'll tell you, hey, listen, who's at this place a lot? Have you ever heard of this company? Oh yeah, he's here every day. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But so that's one way. But you could just stand outside, and the vans come with their logos. They have cards. They have everything ready to go. So
Right,
That's
and
how
then
you-
you'd be like,
you-
hi, are you a contractor?
That's-
I would
Yes.
feel so uncomfortable. Like
I
some
wouldn't.
dudes
But they
running in,
want
like,
business.
I'd feel like, excuse me, sir.
All right. So number
Okay,
two.
thank you.
Number two is referral. Referral from a family or a friend. Like I said, even though they work great for me, they might not work great for you. That's the reason you go, you get 3 estimates. And number 3, when you're driving around, believe it or not, people
Yes.
do this all the time. They stop at people's job sites and say, Hey, you're a framer? Oh, you're a carpenter? What do you do? Oh, I frame houses. Oh, do you mind if I take a look around?
So there you can actually see the
You
work
can actually
that
see
they're
what
doing.
they're doing.
Right.
Wow, that's
And
a
I'll
great
tell
idea.
you,
That's a good idea.
if you're in certain areas, Hackensack, I'm pretty sure, Patterson, Newark, you see those contractors all around the city.
Yeah.
I can name 5 of them in the city of Patterson who I know are reliable. And then you see those everyday guys. But just because they're large companies, you also can find these smaller handymen, smaller companies that you have to kind of dig in deep for. It's basically an interview. You're trying them out. If they work out great, you reuse them. If they don't, you're on to the next.
So do you check Google to see if they have reviews?
Google
or-
reviews, you
Angie's
can.
List? Do you use
Angie's
Angie's List?
List is a great way. Usually
Okay.
the people on Angie's List are upmarket.
You're gonna pay for what you get
Okay.
over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're Googling a guy. And let me tell you, you can get great people. We had this talk the other day. Guys would Google plumber. Hey, where'd you find me from? Oh, I found you on Google. Right there in their head, light bulb clicks. It's like, okay, they're Googling me. So they didn't
This
get a
guy's
referral.
sophisticated.
They don't know any prices.
They don't know anybody.
Here goes that bell off in your head.
Yeah.
Price is going up.
So that's like
Yeah.
the Mercedes, BMW.
Where's your
Oh,
little Scrooge
absolutely.
McDuck?
Yeah.
Where's
Well, it's not
I-
just
so
it's
I
not
honestly,
just
I
the
grab it every day, but today was just a rush.
it's not just the smaller contractors though. Let me tell you. You have guys. Oh crap! I forget the name of the company.
Yeah, put them on
AJ
blast.
Perry. You know AJ Perry. I'm pretty sure you guys seen their trucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
The blue and green.
Plumbers.
Yeah, they're plumbers. So they'll come down and you'll want to let's say replace your steam boiler. Now steam boilers anywhere from $1,700 to $2,500. Parts and material, labor. You probably could get it installed for $5,000-$6,000. That's a swap out. You go to AJ Perry, the price is $18,000.
Wow.
So, and they're also, this is where they get you, because AJ Perry has their technicians on board. They're going to do it. It's obviously cheaper than that $6,000. The actual all-in cost for them would probably be around $3,500 plus their tech.
And they're charging 18,000.
They're charging $18,000. I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you why they have 1,000,001 blue trucks, and why they continue to keep in business. You're an investor or you're a homeowner. You don't have $6,000 to replace your boiler. Guess what? They offer financing.
Ah.
And how much
There
are you
you
going to
go.
pay? You're going to pay
21%.
$99 a month, but you're paying 21.5% interest. That's $17,000. They're going to end up getting $30,000 because you can have a 5, a 10-year plan, a 12-year plan, whatever the
interest,
case.
right.
Wow.
That's
So-
a great business model.
They actually, so that contract, the small-minded contractor who thought he was ripping you off for an extra grand, these guys are getting an extra 20 grand on you.
So I guess you don't
Wow.
use them.
So people do though.
Well, if it's an
I-
emergency and they don't have cash, that's where the financing.
That's where they.
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's helpful to some people. So.
Do
So-
people sign agreements with you? So I want to know what kind of agreements they sign, what are in the agreements, and then I want to know from Nima, what do people have to watch out for?
Are you sure you want to derail the topic that aggressive? Like
No,
that?
let's hear from Danny.
So yes, me, I've never done a job without a full detailed contract.
Okay.
I've always wanted to make sure I was secure.
What's in it?
Can I ask you
Scope
also
of work.
Yeah, why? Because I'm going to loop into why for you guys that's so important, and why legally for
What-
you it's important. But
Well,
why in
for
your
me
mind?
and the customer as well.
All right. So, what's in the contract?
Okay, so in the contract is the scope of work, the material.
Now, who makes the scope of work? You or
I
the
do the
person?
scope of work
Okay.
with
them.
With them.
So you walk through the house and you point.
we
out
see what we're going to agree
Okay.
on. You can't say, well, you know what? I'll give you that. That never works because when they end up going to court, and he says, listen, I was supposed
He
to
means
get paid.
if, not when.
Yeah, if they go to court, yeah. So my contracts were full detailed, and a lot of people they're like, oh well, we don't have to do contract. Let's just shake our hand. I'm not a shake of the hand kind of
Now,
guy.
who says that? You're the client?
The clients, yeah.
Really?
A lot of
What
investors.
client would want a shake of the hand?
Oh, everybody, because by shake of the hand, you're getting a better price.
Ah, there you
Yeah.
There's a lot of contractors out there who, listen, we'll just do it at this. We'll call it at this. I'll pay you cash. We don't have to claim it. We don't. So the shake of the hand and the cash buy is going to get you cheaper.
You
than
can't do a contract with cash?
You can do a contract with cash, but still people don't want
record.
The record.
Yeah.
Because now it's okay. They got cash, but there's record out there. Now they have to pay taxes on it.
So Tamika, I believe she's saying that, larger contractors or people who are very experienced like yourself do detailed, but how can you get a smaller contract to make their contracts a contractor to make their contracts more detailed?
So just to plug real quick, we offer the contract and the scope of work in the class.
We do. And
Fun
We do.
play.
We
so,
do.
Yeah, so we
But-
offer the detailed paperwork. And to answer that, and Danielle, you take over right after, is you just get a template. Don't make one up yourself. Just get an existing template and adjust it.
Can you Google that?
You
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
but
you
then
can.
you won't know what you come across and how to get it from somebody is what I'd
But how
recommend.
do you know that it's as detailed as you need it?
So let's go back. So scope
for
of
it.
work.
Right, scope of work.
Yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, you
Which is
can
negotiable between the client and the contractor.
and the contractor,
Okay, next.
correct. So in your scope of work, you want to make sure that the labor price is in there, the material price. You want to make sure it's fully detailed. Who's removing the garbage? Who's picking up the material?
Who's removing that's
That's a
such
big
a
one.
small thing, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge.
And it's
Yeah.
assumed that the contract, a lot of homeowners just assume that the contractor will
Yeah,
do
I'm not
that,
going to
but it's
remove the
not.
garbage.
Never
Right?
assume
Because garbage
Yeah.
is
Expensive.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the things we go over in class, people don't realize you're demoing.
Yep.
That price of garbage can be anywhere from $10,000 to $14,000 just
Yeah.
for the demolition part itself.
Yeah.
And people misjudge that on their flips, and that's how they end up being upside down on their flip. So full detailed
Garbage.
contracts, and then I always tell people, I'm like, me not being a contractor anymore, and I know basically the whole industry. I tell people, listen, I'm pretty sure if somebody came to your office, I don't know how busy you are. I'm pretty busy. I
He's
assume.
very busy because
He's
he's on the
very
phone
busy
right now.
'cause-
But your
hangs out all day.
paralegal or
No,
something.
I can't get
I'm
the
doing
phone.
something for this.
No, I meant
Yeah.
But you would read a contract for a client if they asked you, right? Or
I have
if you
to.
had even if it's a general
as a
contract.
free-
They do it all the time.
Oh, okay. All right.
Depends. If you're Eric, yeah.
So I
Everyone
always
else?
say,
Nah.
I always say, listen, like Mehdi, he'll come in,
Yeah.
he'll read a contract. A bunch of guys. It's basically reading a contract between the homeowner and the contractor on construction. I mean, you read real estate contracts all day. I'm pretty sure.
So
that-
if I'm a homeowner or a first-time investor or not an experienced investor, should I have a lawyer looking over my general?
You don't have to
contractor
if
contract?
you can understand the contract. You're gonna read the contract yourself once he draws it up. You're gonna see that this is what it's on. This is the material, the labor. You will pay for the garbage. If you agree on it, you sign it.
I think it depends on the scope of work. If you're having the floors refinished in your house, I don't know that you need to have a contractor
No, absolutely.
have that looked over.
If you're
But if
rebuilding
you're
from the-
rebuilding a brand new house
Yes.
Or if you're
Yeah.
doing your bathroom or
something.
kitchen,
Yeah.
people don't realize doing your kitchen. They're like, "Oh, well, I thought the crown was included." Oh, the crown wasn't included, but you
Right.
said you're gonna do the more. I'm not
But
paying
your
for the crown.
lawyer's not going to know that.
Well-
Well, that's part of the scope of work.
Well,
You
if
have
it
to
was in the
know-
scope of work.
you would have to give your lawyer the detail as to what you're expecting, and then he would check if it's in the contract.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm gonna chime in here on a serious
Please do.
note because a bunch of stuff were said. I want everyone to take that and understand that this is how, although you're extremely experienced, and I'll say this, I give everyone a tough time, but you are clearly very knowledgeable, and you know what you're doing.
Thank you.
Right?
Don't hit the button.
No. Okay. Actually, Omar, with that being said, as to the points you just brought up, the state of New Jersey, and I just checked my phone. You guys were wondering why I was on my phone. I wanted to confirm this before I said it. Any contract over $500 for home improvement is required to be in writing.
Wow.
Oh,
Right? So your handshake, while you're doing it because you're smart to protect yourself, what you don't realize is if you don't have it, your client can sue you, and they can sue you under something called consumer fraud, which is very anti-contractor, and it involves taking your damages, trebling them, which means multiplying them by 3, and shifts attorney's fees, which New Jersey follows the American rule. You don't shift attorney's fees unless there's a consumer fraud action. And there are requirements to the contract. Certain things need to be spelled out. New York as well is similar because, guys, we're in the tri-state area, so we'll talk about New York as well. I think New York is even stricter than Jersey in every contract for home improvement has to be required. In addition to that, your home improvement contractor has to be licensed and registered with the state of New Jersey, right?
Right.
You need to be registered. If they're not, they cannot be doing home improvement work. So what you're talking about is genius because you understand it from a fundamental level. But from a legal level, right, it needs to be in writing. And guys, Your lawyer isn't the best person to read that contract, in my opinion. Lawyers are great. If you go to a construction lawyer who knows construction, yes, they'll know what to look for. They'll be able to, all a lawyer can do is tell you what the contract calls for and says, right? They're not there to give you business advice. They're not your consultant. What I highly personally recommend, and I'm a lawyer telling you this, right? I'm not trying to take business away from my profession, but go to an architect, right? Because your architect will know the ins and outs because they manage a lot of construction projects. They'll look at that contract and they'll know what's missing. They'll know the tricks. They'll help you fill it in far better than a lawyer will.
Well, Eric always says, you always say to find, you know what you always say? You say find people
If
who
you can
have
vision
more,
it.
Yes.
No, find people who have more experience than you. Find that person. Don't go to your uncle if your uncle's never done a flip, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Go to someone
But
else.
even that, there's very few people who have the collective experience sitting at this table. But we all learned something new today too by sharing our experiences.
So,
and
so
knowledge.
let's just go back to this contract thing. So first of all, let's clarify: a homeowner versus an investor, or versus a commercial transaction. Does that need to be in writing for all three of those candidates? Because a homeowner, I think,
Anything
falls
over
under
$500, you said.
Well, he didn't. He's
No, I
basing it
understand
on
his question.
Consumer fraud. So.
Okay.
No. So yeah,
If you own a home and then you hire Danny, that needs to be a contract, right? But let's say me, if I own a commercial building and I hire Danny, does that need to be a contract?
Sure.
Because that's, I don't know if that's still considered a consumer. So that's one question that I have. I do love the idea about going to an architect. That's great. You still need someone to review your contract with the architect. But I think that's a great comment because architects do have a better scope of what's going on than that attorney would.
Yeah, absolutely. And they know the scope of work better than anyone, you know, more than the contractor. Because you obviously have a framer, crap, I can't even think now. The carpenter, but they're always referring back to the architect. You know, it's like, can I put this here?
Right.
Am I allowed to put this weight here? So, but the only problem is this: as an architect, they're gonna come in and read it. These guys charge you $600-700 for an edit on just some plans. They might charge you a significant amount of money just to
read that.
look at it because they're so busy all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah.
But if you have a good relationship, if you're doing a project with them, they might take a look at it and say, like, if you have a client, you're already doing something with them, you're like, hey, do you mind reading this
As
real
a
quick? You're
favor
like,
or two.
no worries.
Right.
Oh, I
Take
do it
a
all the
quick
time.
look. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not
So
going to charge
so-
them something extra if you're already
No.
involved with them.
But to
So
Eric,
we're
your
still-
answer to
yeah.
your question, right? I don't know definitively, but based off of what I remember and the quick glance I just did on my phone, I went to New Jersey. There's a website called njconsumeraffairs.gov, right? So New Jersey creates a website for people to go and do your research and look. So even if you want to Google something, just follow your search term with NJ Consumer Affairs, and you'll likely be directed to very simple how-tos that the state's prepared for you to review, right? And the way it's defined is any home improvement, right? It says they use all and they make it in large caps. So
Home improvement.
Home
The word home improvement.
yeah, but here's how home improvement's defined. Home improvement includes the construction, installation, replacement, improvement or repair of driveways, sidewalks, swimming pools, terraces, patios, landscaping, fences, porches. Guys, remember landscaping because we'll circle back to that, right? Porches, windows, protection, doors, cabinets, kitchens, bathrooms, garages, basements, basement waterproofing, fire protection devices, security protection devices,
Everything.
central air. It just keeps going.
Does it end with in someone's home?
No, it doesn't define, from what I'm reading, home versus your personal residence or it being commercial. So my interpretation is there is no differentiating standpoint between the two. Now, I think it's less applicable in commercial settings because, and Eric will talk about this more because he deals with it almost weekly, and so do you, Omar. When you're in commercial settings, most contractors obviously do write it because you're big deals, and they follow something called an AIA
Sure.
agreement, and you guys are better suited to that. But they're
It's
really
like a standard agreement that's used all across the country, which just gives people like a predetermined form contract, which
Yeah.
makes it easier for people to follow.
exactly, and you know, from what I'm interpreting and from my memory, every real estate contract requires it, including landscapers. That's huge because not cutting your lawn, right? But if you're planting a shrub, if you're picking up a shovel and you're planting a shrub, guys, if you've got like a side hustle out there and you're a landscaper and you know you're planting some shrubs for people,
You need a contract.
And you need to be registered with the state. Guys, it's not much. I think they charge like $200.
So back to this.
So-
hold on. You're basically, everything you just said protects Danny.
Well,
No,
As a contractor, it does, because if there's no contract, the homeowner can sue, right? And they can sue for triple whatever the damages were.
Yes. Oh, yeah. In that
So-
respect.
So if there's a
So it
contract,
behooves me not to have a contract.
it's
No,
limited.
it also protects the
I'm kind of
homeowner.
playing with this a little
Okay.
bit, but you have that flexibility. You won't have that if you have a contract.
Sure, and it also protects the homeowner or the investor or the person hiring them, because if you don't get what you bargained for, right? It's very easy. You're going to say, no, listen, you told me you're going to do all this, and the contractor's like, no, that's not included, right? But if it's on paper, you can say, no, it's right here. You're supposed to do it, and you didn't do it.
Absolutely.
Or let's talk about the atom bomb. Change orders.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes things go wild.
So
Guys,
tell me about change orders.
when you look at a wall, it's easy. When that wall comes down, right? That's when you go to get them. Everyone's got into a car accident for the
Is
most
there
part,
plumbing in the wall that you didn't see?
right? When you go, they give you an estimate.
Car accident would be a great explanation for this when it's at the Autobahn.
Right.
I would do it that way so they can understand and then come back to.
Perfect. So
yeah.
you've all been in car accidents.
No, it's a great way to explain it. And
Thank you, sir.
and I
You've
do-
obviously
I
done this
appreciate
way.
that.
Been in a car accident.
Now we're
Okay,
sharing compliments here, guys. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity where me and a guest are getting along.
It's a bromance. Go ahead.
All right. So what happens is they take your bumper off and then they see everything else that's wrong with the car from the accident, right?
That happened when I hit the baby bear.
Okay.
It was
I'm
gonna
so
be
glad
one
that ended with
thing,
bear.
And then it turned out to be a lot more when they took everything off. Go
Right?
ahead.
Because you really don't know what's under it.
Yeah, so the same when you're doing construction, guys, it's not like, oh, well, this is it. The rest was, you should have figured, you should have thought about it. No, what you see is what you get. What they see is what they get. When it comes off, okay, well, this floor is not level. The underlaying is rotten. We need new plywoods. That's change orders. What are you going to go
Responsible
shop?
for that.
contract.
Yeah, so what are you going to go shop that out? Like, no, you
All right.
stop your job.
So
Can I give a
let's
quick
bring this
example
back.
real
Yes.
quick? So what he said. All right. So as a roofing contract, if you have a rotted roof, let's just say, in the contract, most roofers who are licensed roofers come in and say, we're going to redo your roof. We're going to rip off the old shingles, and we'll repair the first 2 sheets of plywood that are rotted. Now, after that, because obviously you can't see what's under the roof, it's $100 a sheet after 2 that we're going to
And that's
repair.
an honest contractor because he tells you the price per plywood.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone else doesn't, and guys, this is where you all need to be careful. Contractors and non-contractors alike. If your contractor's on the job and says, listen, we need these 10 plywoods changed, it's going to be $4,000, and you're like, all right, man, no problem, do it. And then one of you doesn't do it, or it's usually the guy doesn't pay for it. Well, he's like, I didn't sign your change order. Guys, change orders by law have to be signed,
Okay.
To know.
right? You can make arguments otherwise, but you're in court at that point.
All right, so let's go back to Danny. Finish up with your contract, because we still haven't gone through the scope of what a contract should be. So we got the scope of work.
Okay.
Now we put in.
Well, real quick, I just wanted to
change
say
orders.
what he said, because actually everything you're given and me not being a contractor anymore. No.
Oh, shit.
No, I this is what I share with people.
Yeah.
New Jersey Consumer Affairs, contractors, plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, they are licensed by them. The city of Patterson was having a problem. There was a huge scam where people were using expired licenses and people weren't checking.
Right.
If you're licensed and active by the state of New Jersey, you're licensed by New Jersey Consumer Affairs. Number 2, when you apply, so if you have a full detailed contract with them, also number 2, you want to make sure they're licensed, and you always pull out a permit through the city. That's why we always say, make sure they're licensed and insured. Now, if they're licensed and insured, you have a full detailed contract and you have permits, they were able to take out permits through the city, now you know you're secure. Now, God forbid, let's say they try to take off or you pay them and they don't finish the work, you not only have a contract, which will hold up in court, right? Number 2, the Division of Consumer Affairs for the city is also going to go to court on your behalf.
were
Because you have,
Right.
and now number 3, which is the craziest thing, and I give to people, like I said, because I was a contractor, but I don't believe in being a wrong contractor. Number 2, if they're licensed and they try to take off of your work, if they try to not finish, all you have to do is one complaint to Consumer Affairs and they're under a whole investigation board.
And guys, you said Patterson a couple of times. I want to give a shout out.
I do a lot of work there. So.
Andre Sayegh
good people.
has been the mayor now for, I think he's on his second term. And I've been involved in Patterson since I was a kid when my father was a big investor there. This guy has turned that city around in such a wonderful, phenomenal level that a lot of these protections. I don't have any love for the building department. Sorry, guys. But I got to say that Andre himself and the stuff that he's plugged in.
I got to shout out Jerry. Jerry's a good guy.
Invest in Patterson, but make sure you're buying.
All right, we don't have a ton more time. So I want to bring this back.
But Andre is a
contracts.
great guy.
We're going to just talk contracts right now.
Okay, no more. All right, so just contracts.
Yes.
All right, we get off topic.
So
But you know what
said
it is?
Scope. We're going to do
Scope. We finished this. We already
Scope of work.
finished the
Right.
scope. We did the change orders.
What else is
in
in
the
it?
contract?
Okay.
What about
so
timing?
We have the scope of work, we have the labor price, the material price, and timing on
Wait,
the
you're doing
on
my
the job.
kitchen. How long do I have to order?
They let you
out,
know
right?
it's going to take 6 weeks, but they might say now during COVID, everything is backed up. It used to take 6 weeks to order windows. Now it's 3 months.
Should I be concerned if a contractor is able to start right away?
Not really.
Does that mean they're no good because no one wants them?
That's what people assume.
Yeah.
Now the thing is this: if they're pulling up, you have some contractors that say, "Hey, can I get an estimate?" Well, I'm too busy, I can't come down. Or you might have a contractor that'll just go see the job, and their number one question is, "When do you need to get this done, and how long do you need?" Because what they can do is, in between the time, they may have different guys that could shift. So when we were actually active, we had 12 guys and we had 2 project managers. Now, we can go to one job, we can do another job. In between there might not be something for my guy to do. He can go over, I could send 2 guys and they could start the demolition. Obviously, they know then after I demo the bathroom, let's just say, you're coming in with the framer, you frame it. Now I could get electric and plumbing in there and I don't have to be at that job
musical
site.
chairs. You're shifting
Absolutely.
people
It's
around.
basically shifting and it's basically a it's just following the timeline on it. So you
The
can
contract
actually
should
have.
the timeline in it.
Now this is the reason I
Well,
kind
it's
of.
required to. So I'm going to be brief with your answer. So because we're jumping around, there's actually the law requires certain things to be in it, right?
Oh.
And I'll rattle it, right? So a contract must be written, and it must include the legal name and business address of the contractor has to be in it, as well as the start date, a completion date, a description of the work to be done, and the total aggregate price for the work to be done.
Okay.
Those are the legally required elements necessary to be in a contract. Anything in addition to that is something that you just a better contract and it's more descriptive.
Okay.
Right? But that's the minimum legal
So
requirement.
does that cover basically?
Well, no, that
everything
covers
in the
basically
contract?
the timeline, the amount of money, how long it's going to take,
So-
and the description of the
Perfect.
work.
So we now have a signed contract. Yay. What happens next?
What happens next?
Just tell us about money before we do that.
Yes.
Deposits. How much should you deposit?
So this is
How
my
much should you
thing.
not
I
deposit?
always tell people, as a contractor, as an investor, a homeowner, whatever the case is, a lot of the time investors, see most of the people here are investors. If I'm purchasing the material, there's no need for a 50% deposit. There's no need even for a 25% deposit. I always say, now I'm going to give you from real life experience as a contractor. For myself and for the homeowner, I always try to protect each other. I don't want them to give me 50% and then, they decide like, oh, well, they don't feel as comfortable giving me 50%. Listen, you can break it down into sections, but just make sure when the payment is due and we've all agreed on it, please come through with that payment.
And don't
Because
delay
not
it.
only
Yeah.
contractors,
Yeah.
a lot of homeowners and investors have ripped people off as well.
Yeah. Big
That's
time.
the thing. So
Yeah.
now you have that contractor, homeowner kind of, you want to keep it a balanced relationship.
But what
Do
are
you
the
guys always use contractors? Do you use contractors?
Not always, no.
No, you don't. Do you?
As opposed to using my own hands?
No,
No,
Like
just getting your own
handyman,
subcontractors, right?
I rarely use contractors.
You
Yeah,
rarely.
same.
What are the
Depends
format
on the
of
day.
the words
Okay.
when it comes to deadlines and timing?
Double the time that they tell you.
No, there's 4 words, right? That you
Get
have to
this
look out
done
for.
fast.
No.
Oh,
Honestly,
no, wait a minute.
All joking
You
aside.
could either have
Like,
price
what?
Speed?
Cheap, fast.
or cheap.
No.
Tell us.
Time of the essence.
Oh.
Right?
But-
So
That's for closing.
Illegal for
it's
us.
not.
I know, exactly. I'm like,
I've never ever heard anything like that related to contractors.
Yes. So I'll tell you why, right? And I put them in my client's contract. So, all right, you're an investor. Have you ever seen any one-year contracts?
What?
Time of the
Time of the
essence on your
essence.
completion date?
For
Not for closing.
So I wouldn't accept that.
well, for real estate, yeah. But
no, not for real.
So,
Not
all right,
construction.
guys, you can do that. So, what happens if you sign a contract? You need your project to be done in 6 months, and it's not, right? And then you get into a fight, and he's like, well, look, there's these delays, there's that delays. This was an estimated time. Time of the essence is not just for real estate closing. If you put in a contract for construction, this project, your work has to be done, time of the essence by this date. That means you're both agreeing that it is essential for the work to be done on this cutoff time.
And at the end, if they don't agree, you can sue them or you can get out of the contract.
Well, there's usually provisions then that they start reducing off of their purchase amount.
Right, but if you get into that mess with the contractor,
Yes.
you've lost the battle. You've
This
lost.
is about more about like getting through the contract.
Yeah, and
once
if-
you get the deposits done.
Yeah.
you
No,
get
but I
the
would say-
deposit, like I said.
Go for it, Danny.
Let's just say we're doing a bathroom.
Okay.
And you're gonna start demolition. There's no reason for even 25%. You know, maybe you start off with something small because you want to make sure your guys are actually getting paid. So you can give them initial positive 15% or whatever the case is. Your guys start to work, and obviously, the next phase. I say in a bathroom or a kitchen, you set up about 4 or 5 payments.
Okay.
Now,
Almonds.
a lot of people are like, oh, well, I just gave you a deposit. Okay, but the bathroom's almost complete. We're going to inspection now. I need this before inspection. I need this after inspection. And then after inspection, you can hold it to the final.
Well, how much is the difference if you were like, so you just separated between you buying the material or them buying the material? So 15% you think is fair if they're buying the material. If you're buying the material, how much?
like 15. If I'm buying the material, listen, we'll use numbers so they understand instead of 10,
Yeah.
15%. We're doing a small bathroom, let's say.
$10,000.
$10,000. $2,000 is something fine to start up with if I'm purchasing the material.
Now, do you give that to them on the first day they come, or when?
Well,
do you give it?
you sign a contract,
Yeah.
you give them a little deposit because even places like I use guys out of it, Sears or whatever the case, or garage doors. For them, you have to give 50%, but you give a small deposit of $2,000. They start to work. That's why I like to set up in series of 4 or 5.
So you're saying it's negotiable.
It's negotiable.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I was to do so they have actually a scenario. If I was to do a bathroom and it was 10 grand, all labor, and they say, all right, I'll purchase all the material, we just pick it up. Fine. I would say start me off with a $2,000 deposit. Obviously, when the plumbers or electricians are in, I would say, hey, listen, another $2,000.
Right.
After inspection, we passed inspection, another $2,000. So now you're at $6,000. They had all inspections passed. Now we're going to the finish. I would hold that $4,000 till after we're completed. I would say, hey, listen, another $2,000. We're complete. Now we're just waiting for inspections. After we pass final inspection and you're complete and you're done, I would say, give me the balance of the $2,000.
And what if they don't pay you and they delay it for a week? What happens then?
See,
Because a lot of homeowners do that.
they do. They'll try to stall. They'll say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I have you this week," or "I'll give it." I mean, there's nothing much you can do. You can go to court, but you're
Walk
probably
off. You're
that's-
probably going to leave it that
That's a
point,
whole
and
nother
it.
podcast about court and contracts.
That is
But,
true.
all right, so now we are through the contract. We are done. You've given them the deposit. What do you expect next?
Can I ask a question?
No.
No.
All right. What happens if you sign the contract but you don't show up? What if the contract doesn't come when he said he was going to come?
Let's assume, because we have limited time today, that the guy shows up. I definitely see we're gonna have.
Let's
to do
get through the
something
contracts because we're gonna have to. This is going to have to
We'll
have
be
a
back
part
on
two.
again.
I want you back on again.
We'll be back
so
on.
much on the
Has to have a
topic,
part
right?
two. Go ahead.
No, it's all
So
right.
what's next?
So after I start working,
You show
What
up for
happens
the job.
after you
Yeah.
give the deposit, the contract signed? What do you
contract
expect?
signed, I give the deposit. You usually say, okay, I'm going to start Monday. Let's say the deposit was given on Friday. The check is cleared. Well, you start working
Red flags?
with the homeowner.
No, with the
Red flag.
what would a red
We're
flag
protecting
be?
the homeowner.
Yes.
Right.
Against the contract.
What would the
Okay.
red flag be?
Red flag would be, he says he's going to be there Monday at 9:00. Let's say he doesn't show up to 12, 1 o'clock, or I can't come today the next day. There you go.
Does
That's
that
the
happen
red
a
flag.
lot?
Doesn't happen a lot to people who are reliable. You usually find it.
Not to AJ Perry.
Yeah, they're there before, you know.
Right.
They're there an hour before.
They're waiting around the corner because they just broke your hot water heater when you were out on vacation.
So usually the red flags start before all this. The red flags start with the estimates. If I'm setting up a time and it's like, okay, we'll meet at 3:00. This guy can't come to tomorrow, or the next day, or 3 hours later. That's the red flag already that you know. Listen, be done with this guy.
Is that just is that like a character thing that you're just saying if it doesn't have the character to be here on time?
Well,
for
if
this
I can't
podcast?
respect my time or he can't respect,
Very
you know,
good point.
it's you.
And
you
then
kinda,
what do you do? And this is the last point. What do you do in that situation? If you need to get rid of someone, what do you do? If you don't like your contractor, if they're coming late,
and
in
you're
the
already
day,
tied into it.
Right.
You would, obviously you would look for a new contractor. You would do a change of order. You would have to do a change of contractor with the city, but you would have to agree on what they've
So
what
first you
they've
have
spent
to
already.
fire that contractor.
First you have to
which
fire
could have
him.
legal ramifications, and then once you fire that contractor, you have to let the city or the municipality know that you're changing if it's a licensed job.
Well, the reason you're changing is because the simple fact that he's not showing up.
Right.
Now we all know on hard money, time is of the essence for real. Because this guy's supposed to be here for a week, he doesn't show up to next week. Let's say we're on a hard money loan, and whatever the interest is $3,500 a month. Now you lost.
You're losing money.
You're losing money every week or every day. If he's coming one day or not the next day, it's like you have to protect yourself.
We are going to have a part 2. And
Right after
I
this.
just want to say,
Get more coffee.
There's Kayla, there's Peter, there's a whole bunch of people that are like, how do they get in touch with you, Danny? They want to work with you. They love you. You are the man.
Well,
First you got to call me.
this is my
you
agent.
get your 20%, right? Go.
I'm on
What's your website?
Danny Builds, www.dannybuildshomes. It's all plural.com.
And what's your email?
I'm actually dannybuildshomes@gmail.com. On Instagram, same thing, Danny Builds
That's
Homes.
how you get in touch with him.
And are you part of any class that teaches this?
Oh, a awesome class that I absolutely
Find
love.
Fun Flip.
And let me tell you,
RECareerCenter.com.
me and Omar, we're not done until we're on HGTV.
So everyone, please, a couple
are
of
right
things.
now. This is a
couple of things, guys. Watch us every week. Please subscribe on our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Smash that button. And you want to go to Spotify and see us. If you need to get in contact with us personally, it's info@RECareerCenter.com. We will have a part 2. Thank you to our power panel.
And
Thank
a
you,
shout
Nana.
out to AJ Perry. I've never dealt with them. You have. Every contractor or every opportunity like that has a purpose, and it's good for some and maybe not good for others. But we're very excited to have you. And again, remember, if you visualize it, you can own it. See you
All
next
right.
time.
Bye.